Drinking excessively. New day, new sleigh, as they say. Yes, I have on a Shigo wig. No, y'all aren't gonna tell me nothing. I'm in my wig era, okay? I want to talk to y'all about all the mistakes that I made in my 20s. Since my 20s are rapidly coming to an end, I feel like it only makes sense to talk about all of the mistakes that I think I've made. The first mistake that I made in my 20s was not keeping a consistent physical activity or physical movement practice. I am now paying for that. And I can tell as I stretch every day leading up to my 30s, I am realizing that I have lost mobility. But also I think I probably could have just saved myself a lot of injuries over my life if I had kept a consistent physical movement practice. Being scared of being seen. Look, I know a lot of people have been having conversations about this at large, but I think I let the fear of being seen stop me from doing a lot of things that I wanted to do. CC what I'm currently doing. And I think if I had just gotten over that fear and not cared, it would have changed a lot of the decisions that I made. Bending over backwards for everyone else at the expense of myself. All my people pleasers, stand up. If you know, you know. I definitely spent a lot of time doing things and making sacrifices for people that would never do the same for me. And arguably, it's okay that they wouldn't. No one asked them to. I think I had to realize that sometimes you go above and beyond for people and they didn't even ask you to do all that, and then what? Then you look dumb because you just spent all that time bending over backwards and you get nothing from it, and there's no reciprocity, so there's no point. Not starting a savings earlier. I won't tell y'all what age I started my savings account, but I'll just say most of my 20s, I did not have a savings. Now, I will also caveat this by saying a lot of people can have a savings, okay? It's rough out here. We're doing our best. A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, but I wish I had learned the importance of saving a bit earlier, because I think I know I would be in a different place now if I had. Drinking excessively. I'm like 18 days sober, I guess you could say. I mean, I never really like drank that much, but I feel like drinking excessively is a no bueno, okay? I should have stopped drinking a long time ago because I don't even like alcohol that much, and it really does taste like poison to me. I enjoy wine occasionally, but even then, wine got me caught up the last time I was drinking, so I definitely would have stopped drinking altogether probably, but definitely excessively much sooner. Much sooner in my 20s for sure. Buying a Jeep. Okay, no Jeep slander, because I will caveat this again by saying I wanted a Jeep so bad. It was like a milestone for me. So I'm very glad that I did buy the Jeep when I bought her, but not a good idea. Don't buy a Jeep. I bought a Jeep Cherokee. It was a 2018. It only had like 30,000 miles on it. I only had it for 3 years, and by the time I turned it in, it was wildin'. The entire electrical system was malfunctioning. It would turn off. Yeah. Anyway, no bueno. Don't buy a Jeep. I don't think they have a lot of lasting power. Now I have a Honda. So as you can see, I learned the lesson at 29 though. So I definitely would have learned that lesson a bit earlier. Not staying in one place and building community. This is something that I touched on in my last video, which was just like a drive with me rant, but I do wish I had stayed in New York City for the entire time since I had graduated college, built a sense of community there. I feel like, you know, a lot of people set down roots in one place and they're there for 7-10 years. Like I know people I graduated with that like moved to one city and they've been there and they have their friends and they found community and they've able to like build routines and traditions and things like that. I've moved around so much that I haven't really done that. And I do have a community in New York and I love them dearly, but so much of the traditions I could have built and just the really deeper roots, I feel like I don't have at large. I have a very small group of friends in New York that I love dearly, and I've known them for very, very long. So I do have roots there. But again, I just feel like if I had stayed there the whole time, my community there would look a lot different. And right now I'm in a phase of my life where I do really want community, and it is the last thing that I have. Pouring into everyone else's creative ideas and passions and neglecting my own. I'm gonna keep this short because I could go on about this one for a very long time, but my entire life I have poured into other people's passions, and I think it was partially because I didn't believe in myself enough to go after my own, but I'm quickly realizing that again came at a cost. I wish I had taken all of those ideas and all of that energy and really poured it into my pursuits, because I think I would have also saved myself a lot of imposter syndrome, because when you give your creative ideas to other people, they can not execute them correctly or at all, or a host of other things could go wrong. They could not see your creative potential as it actually is, or even tap into it at all. And so I definitely regret pouring all of my creative energy into other people's ideas because I didn't have enough confidence in my own. And I, in the last year and a half, have only just now started to take the focus away from other people and really focus on myself and what I want to accomplish and the ideas that I've had for so long that I just never like put pen to paper on. Not really understanding my self-worth until 29. Pretty self-explanatory. I've spent a lot of my life hating myself and devaluing myself and undervaluing myself, and that has cost me. That has cost me not taking opportunities I thought I deserved, or taking them for lower value, price, etc. than I should have. And I think if I had learned my self-worth earlier, it would have changed the trajectory of my life, quite frankly. Not being a good communicator and understanding how important it is to communicate well. So many people don't get this lesson, but I know I'm a former bad communicator. I have come strides in the last year. Also, this is my Mercury perfection year, so if you know, you know. I've learned a lot about communication this year, and I've understood just how bad of a communicator I was. And I think people misconstrue you just speaking with communicating and being a good communicator. And there's so many ways that we can fall short in that. And I wish that I had enough bravery and courage, because it takes bravery sometimes, to communicate well and be honest in your communication. That is something that I dearly, dearly regret. Not deeply understanding that I have needs and honoring those needs. Along with the communication, I think part of that is me not communicating my needs or understanding I have any, which is something I talked about in my Dating with a Fearful Avoidant video, so I'll like tag that here because it's related. But I definitely have just started understanding what my needs are and communicating them, and that has changed the game for me. Not studying astrology sooner. I should have known. I had an astrological thing as a child on my kitchen door. I had a sticker, and I should have known I was an astrology girly from get-go, and I didn't, and that's okay. But I wish I had studied sooner, because I would love to be like 5 years in right now, but I'm like 6 months in, and that's fine. But I do wish I had picked up the books a little bit earlier. Thinking I wasn't good enough to be anything I wanted to be. That is tied into the self-worth, but when you feel like you are less than other people, or you don't understand your power or your creativity, it's so much easier to just say like, oh, I can't do this, or just shut doors for yourself. And I wish I had not done that, and I wish I had been willing to be bad at something in order to get good at it. And I think that is something that I'm doing now, again at 29, but I wish I had done that earlier in my 20s, because by now I would be so good at so many things that I just took a risk on that I didn't believe I was good enough to do in the first place. Falling in love with attention to the point that I mistaked it for desire. Woo Chile. I'm not gonna get into this that much, but I think we oftentimes mistake attention for desire and for someone's desire to commit. And I'm here to tell y'all right now, that's not what it's giving. Someone could give you all the attention in the world and they might not like you or want to be with you. And that just is what it is. And you hate to see it, but it's the truth. Resisting routine. Now, to be fair, I am ADHD, not too much on me, but I am realizing how important routine is now because it really does make a difference. If I get into a steady routine, I feel better, emotionally, physically, I feel better. And I wish I had built stronger routines and habits earlier in my 20s because I think it would have just made me feel better overall and I would have been stronger. Accumulating so much stuff. When I've been moving, y'all, you always know how much stuff you have when you start moving. Bad idea. I've accumulated too much stuff and I wish I hadn't because now I just start over. You just end up starting over until you find or settle in the place you want to be. And I could have had way less stuff, period. So those are some of the mistakes that I made in my 20s. And I hope some of it resonates with you, is relatable. Let me know if you're at the end of your 20s and you're reflecting, or you're in your 30s and you're reflecting on your 20s, or you're in your early 20s and you're thinking about things you could do to set off your 20s well. And as usual, you already know, I love y'all. Thank y'all for watching. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye.